self-care, the end of lockdown, the pubs are reopening. So now, as we've got the dates for the ends of lockdown and things being eased off, restrictions being eased off, pubs being open, varying things like that, we don't want to just forget about self-care. And I'm sure many people won't, but it's easy to do so, and we quickly will as we get back to normal life. So, as we are coming out of lockdown, what does it mean for our self-care? So it means now that obviously we are going to be able to do more things. So we need to look at how we actually initially look at self-care itself in the first place. So that word there, self, we need to try and take a step back from that. And yes, it is about the self, but it's not necessarily an individual thing. So as restrictions are lifted and the pubs, as an example, will be opened, we can use pubs for self-care, because socialising is a big aspect of our mental health. That's why, in prisons, such a big punishment is self-isolation. It has massive detrimental effects on our mental health. Many studies prove this. And I'm sure on a personal note, we've all realised this through this last year and the last varying lockdowns. So, as I say, with the pubs opening up, we can use these for our self-care. As obviously, alcohol isn't good for ourselves in large quantities and things like this, but that social element to the pubs we can use. So you're out there, you're socialising, that has a benefit. You're venting. You can almost see it as a form of counselling, if you will, especially for those people that would necessarily have the stiff upper lip and not talk about things. Once you've had a few beers or drinks, and things loosen up and we talk about things. We all see it when we're in the pubs. And like I say, that can be utilised in a great way. So again, now, outside of pubs, I think largely we also need to look at how we socialise culturally. So the pubs have always been a big aspect, and obviously people are going to want to rush back to them. And I'm not saying we shouldn't, but aside from just the pubs, we should look at socialising through sports, and I don't mean set sports either. A running club, a walking club, anything like this. You're getting together, you're having that social aspect, and then you're still having that self-care. You're still looking after yourself. There's countless studies that prove that working in a community together with your friends and with other people, being held accountable, benefits and has a positive effect on your personal training. So even though it's in a group, it's still self-care. So this is what we need to look at. Self-care now, as we get back to normal, we don't need to forget about self-care. And we do need to think about how and where we spend our time, and ultimately what we spend our time doing, and who we spend it with. And we don't need to separate everything. Self-care can be done with groups of people. So get out in your local community, arrange things with your friends, arrange things on social media. Community projects are great. Like I say, there's studies there to prove how they can benefit your personal goals. And then if we're benefiting your personal goals individually, that's then going to be true to another individual and to another individual. And if we have a happier community in large, we're all going to be happier. So like I say, it's this self-care now. As we come out of lockdown, let's look at self-care not solely as a selfish thing and about the self. How can we use it in the bigger picture? How can we now go and get back to normality? But how can we get back to normality but slightly adjust it to fit in with the things that we're now more aware of? Mental health has been pushed to the forefront again, and not just now in a lip service aspect. Lockdowns has given us this unique opportunity where many people have now been put into the positions where they've had to face the same issues that other people would have been telling them about previously, but they wouldn't have had element to be able to have that understanding, whereas now they do. So now those people, we can work together, and like I say, we can do things as a community to work together to benefit everybody. So ultimately, self-care is care for the community, and caring for the community is self-care. So get out there and let's get looking after each other and looking after yourself.